Hello everyone, I'm Joe Ackourey, and welcome to the Fly of the Week. For this episode, episode 66, I'll be tying a Grey Midge dry fly, or the adult stage. It's no secret that midges hatch throughout the entire season, which can offer some fantastic dry fly fishing throughout the year. The pattern that I'm about to share with you, I typically tie from sizes 18s to 24s. The smaller sizes are quite difficult to see, so I sometimes catch myself attaching it to the back end of my second favorite midge pattern, the Griffith Gnat. I'll drop it about a foot and a half behind it, and not only is it an effective duo to fish on the water, it helps to see the fly a lot easier, especially when you get down to those tiny sizes. So, without further ado, let's get started. All right, guys, here we go. The adult stage to the Grey Midge. Place your hook in the vise, making sure that the shank of the hook is relatively parallel with your tabletop, and begin to cover the entire shank of the hook with thread. I like to tie these midge adults from sizes 18s to 24s. The smaller sizes require a finer thread, and today I'm using the 16-aught Vivas in black. The first part of this fly is the abdomen, and for the abdomen I'm using a stripped Peacock Eye Fiber. You can see the pronounced dark stripe and then the light stripe. You only get that from the eye. It only comes from the eye, the peacock eye, not the feather, not the herl down below the eye. Not this stuff here, guys. You'll never, this is all, when you strip this fuzz off, it's all one color from the herl. You want to take it from the eye. So, there's two methods that I use to strip this fuzz off, to expose this two-tone color. Number one, I use my fingernails, and I just I pull it down, and it strips the fuzz off. You got to be really careful with that. Or you can use a pencil eraser, and you just lay this quill on the tabletop, flat tabletop, and just rub this in a downward fashion, and it comes right off. So this is the end that was attached to the quill, and this is the natural end. I'm going to attach the cut end, or the section that was attached to the quill, to the side of the shank of the hook. Once that's secured, I can start wrapping. I'm going to build a little taper, ever so slight taper to the abdomen here. That's fine. It doesn't look like much, but these midge bodies are very tiny. And I'm going to begin to wrap very carefully the strip Peacock Eye Quill, or fiber, up the shank, about 75%, 80% up the shank, and then begin to tie it off. You can see that nice segmentation there that you'll only get from the eye of the peacock. Okay, once that's secure, to add longevity to this fly, I like to take my favorite UV glue and just apply a real light coat of that right on top of the body. Not only does it add a little longevity, it also brings out the segmentation wonderfully, as you can see. Let's hit that with the UV light. Okay. The abdomen is complete. Now, the next step is placing the legs in. The legs, I'm using a natural black Hackle size 20, because I'm proportioning with the with the hook. This is a size 20 hook. Pretty much what I do is I'll bend the feather over, and you'll see that the fibers coming off the stem are approximately equal to 1.5 gaps. So there's a natural curve to this feather as well. I want to tie it in with the curve going down and over the fly. Like so. I'm going to attach it to the side. Okay. Now, the next step is to build a little thorax up. And I like to use Peacock Herl for the thorax. If I chose just a Peacock Herl from the Peacock Quill, notice how much thicker it is toward the eye of the peacock. So you want to select one way down on the bottom. Now again, this is a size 20. So the lower you go on the Peacock Quill, the skinnier the fibers are. They're not as full, and the length is, you know, not as dramatic. You could see it's very narrow. So I chose this from the base of this quill. Here's the end that was attached to the quill. I'm going to just cut that off clean, and this is the natural end. I'm going to attach the end that was closer to the quill, or the cut end. Once that's secure, I attached it just the way I did with the hackle, right to the side. I'm going to only wrap about 5 or 6 wraps here, just to give it a nice little thorax there. Again, we're talking, these are tiny flies. Okay, very good. Now, in review, we have our abdomen, which is made from the strip peacock eye, coming from only the eye. The legs are made out of a natural black hackle that I selected, a size 20 to proportion to the hook size. The thorax is nothing more than proportioned peacock herl, wrapped 5 or 6 wraps around the shank of the hook. Now I'm going to palmer the hackle through the thorax. Maybe 3 wraps. Let's get that going right. Oops. Broke that right off. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Very good. Secure that. I like to put when I'm wrapping with this bobbin on small hooks, I often put my thumb to prevent me from bending the hook. So I just kind of lean it up to take the force of me torquing down on that bobbin and that thread. So there we have it. We have our abdomen, our thorax, and our hackle that's wrapped through the thorax. I clipped the top of the hackle off the thorax here to prepare for my wing. Now, the wing material I'm using is my medium dun sparkle yarn. It's way too thick now, so I'm going to have to separate that in half. I'm going to separate that carefully. And there we have it. That's how thick our wing is going to be. And I'm just going to lay this whole piece here, I'm just going to lay it. We're going to cut it to proportion once we get it anchored. So I'm going to lay that right on top. There we go. I'm going to clip off, not clean, I'm going to clip off like a little, just kind of almost about 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch, little tassel there. And flare that up. And now for the wing length. The wing length is going to be equal to the shank of the hook, including the eye. Here we have it. Okay, I'm going to now separate these wings into equal bunches. This is pretty easy with a size 20, but when you get down to 24s, it becomes a challenge. And I'm only going to throw maybe 1 or 2 figure 8s in there just to keep them separated. There's one full one. One more should do the trick. There we go. I'm going to pull up on those and wrap into that, locking in that figure 8. And there's our wings. It's a relatively easy pattern. The hard part is when you get down to the smaller sizes. So I got some cleaning up to do, but I can give you a little preview of what it looks like. And now I'm just going to tie my knot. Again, on these smaller sizes, hold on to your hook so you don't bend it. When you pull down your bobbin, that is. There we go. One more. I only put a couple of hitches in there. There we go. Excellent. So now all we have to do is clean it up. And any wing material laying around, like those 1 or 2 pieces, get rid of them. Any hackle fibers that got caught, that's pretty much it. The only thing left to do is put a drop of glue on there. This fly is ready to fish. Well, there you have it, guys. The adult stage to the Grey Midge. Relatively easy pattern to tie. Works great. I often fish this in tandem with a Griffith gnat. And yeah, I highly recommend you adding this to your arsenal. This is a great little pattern. Very effective. Thank you for joining me in this episode of the Fly of the Week. If you are enjoying the content that I'm pushing out, please subscribe. Tight lines, guys.